Hi friends, welcome to our reading lesson. Today we will look at similes in poetry. A simile compares two unlike things using the word like or as. So it's taking two different things that are not alike, putting them together, comparing them, but in that sentence will be the word like or as. Sounds tricky, but we'll get the hang of it. Just a review of figurative language, poetry uses fun language. What types of figurative language can we find in poetry? We've learned about alliteration, we've learned about onomatopoeia, we've also learned about rhyming words. Poetry anchor chart. Here are some different figurative language vocab words we can review. Rhyme, words that have the same ending sounds, often the last word of the poem's lines. Example, pale and tail. They rhyme, they have the same ending sound. The rhythm is the beat of the poem, which we talked about the other day. Those syllables help us get the beat or the rhythm of the poem. Repetition is repeating sounds. Words or phrases that are repeated within the poem over and over again. Like if in a poem you hear rain, 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 it's being repeated over and over again. Another example of repetition is in Katy Perry's song Firework, when she says, boom, 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 even brighter than the moon, moon, moon. She's repeating those words, so that is repetition. We also have alliteration, words in a poem that start with the same letter of the alphabet. Here I go again. Example, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. It's the repeating of that same sound in the beginning of the word. Onomatopoeia, the word that's really hard to spell but super fun to say. Words in a poem that make a sound like meow or crash. They are sound words. These are some figurative language vocab words to review. Let's review some different types of figurative language in this poem. Listen as I read the poem and identify poetry treasures. Spring showers. Pitter patter, drip, drip, drop. What poetry treasure did I hear? Definitely alliteration, pa, pa, and dra, dra. Also a little repetition because it says it twice over. The rain came down like someone wringing out a mop. Kind of sounds like a simile because it's talking about the rain coming down and comparing it to when you hold a mop and it's all wet and you wring it out and the water comes out really quick. So it's comparing the rain to someone wringing out a mop, and it uses the word like. So bonus, that's a simile. All right. Pitter patter, alliteration. Splish, splish, splash, also alliteration. We heard thunder and lightning, a boom and a crash. Onomatopoeia, boom, crash, sound words. Pitter patter, glip, glop, glop. Alliteration. We sloshed through the mud until the last drop. Pitter patter, where did you go? The sun was shining so bright, it made a big rainbow. So in that poem, Spring Showers, we saw alliteration. We definitely heard some rhyming words, onomatopoeia like boom and crash, and repetition, repeating words. And guess what? We also heard what we're learning about today, similes. Okay, what are similes? A simile is a comparison of two things using the word like or as. So if I said, my students are as sweet as pie, I am comparing my students to pie. Well, that sounds silly. Students and pie, they're not the same thing, but I'm using the word as sweet as pie. As sweet as pie. So I'm saying that my students and a pie are both sweet. I also have the example colorful like crayons. So I could say, the sunset looked colorful like crayons. I'm comparing the sunset to crayons, saying they're both colorful, but they have to have the word like or as, and they do. Colorful like crayons. So sweet as pie, colorful like crayons are both similes. Here are some other similes that we see used a lot. Busy as a bee. Miss Fowler is busy as a bee as she gets her lesson plans together. So it's comparing Miss Fowler to a bee, saying they're both busy. But it's only a simile if it has the word like or as. And there it does. It has as. Sparkle like diamonds. So the stars sparkle like diamonds. Hungry as a bear. The student was hungry as a bear. Flat as a pancake. Hard as a rock. All comparisons with the word like or as, so therefore it's a simile. Here I have a game that I normally play with my students, and they come up and touch the screen, and if it's a simile, it will highlight. But since we're over video, it's already highlighted for you. So let's look at some. My sister is like a tall oak tree. That's a simile because it has the word like, and it also compares my sister and an oak tree, saying they are both tall. Top right corner says, the runner was as fast as a speeding bullet. So we're comparing the runner and a speeding bullet, saying they're both fast, and yes, it has the word as. The child hopped through the yard like a bunny. We're comparing the child and a bunny, saying they both hopped, but it also has the word like, so we know it's a simile. Her eyes are as green as brilliant emeralds. It's comparing a girl's eyes to emeralds, which is a green jewel, saying they're both green. And it has the word as, so we know it's a simile. Here's one of my favorite poems to end out our simile lesson today. I want you to be listening for a simile. This poem is called The Period. This is all about a punctuation mark. Fat little period, round as a ball. You'd think it would roll, but it doesn't at all. Where it stops, there it plops. There it stubbornly stays, at the end of a sentence for days and days. Get out of my way, cries the sentence, beware. But the period seems not to hear or to care. Like a stone in the road, it won't budge, it won't bend. If it spoke, it would say to a sentence, the end. So, did you hear a simile? Was the period being compared to something with the word like or as? Look at that first line. Fat little period, round as a ball. So our period is being compared to a ball, saying they're both round, and yes, it has the word as, so therefore it's a simile.